get it right, and I had some messages I wanted to share. The Tommy John message, I didn't want it to overshadow everything that I've been and how I've gotten to this point, but I thought parents nonetheless have been following something that is just not a good trend. And I could have spent way too long on so many other people that I really made a point to try and do the personal touches later. And I've got some phone calls and some letters to write.
Barry, right there.
John, how was it from the other side? We talked about this a lot leading into this, doing the network last year and actually being part of it this year.
Yeah, it was much more difficult. I mean, you know, having a mic on the studio or broadcasting a game impromptu is a lot easier to make fun of yourself. I don't like talking about myself. I like making fun and having a laugh and being with the guys, but you know, when you have an opportunity to stand up there and you're being enshrined and inducted in an incredible hall, it's difficult, you know. I mean, especially if you get locked in on the wrong people and you see the emotion that can come rampantly that prevents you from delivering your message. So I'm glad it's over. I've never had a shirt this soaking wet in my life, and I'm going to enjoy the heck out of every year that I can get back here with this class and with the guys that we represent. And I'm sure we're going to get our lunch handed to us at the dinner tonight, and I'm fully prepared to take whatever they have to offer, because this will be the last time it'll happen, I think.
On the end there, Mark and Sam, right there.
Craig, kind of a two-parter. What did it mean to you to be able to say thanks to Matt Galante and to pay tribute to King Caminiti?
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, for Matty in general, I don't think people really understand how difficult of a transition it was to go from catcher to second base. And it was a position that I had never played before in my life. And in all honesty, we had 6 weeks to learn it. And it really wasn't the physical side of the game, turning the double plays, catching the ground balls. It was the mental side of the game. And we did. And the reason why I bored everybody with the hours that we put in, because we did. And that's what we did every day for spring training. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. And I just felt that, you know, Matty is a baseball lifer. He's given his whole life to baseball. He's done some amazing things with a lot of infielders. And I just wanted to make sure that he got the credit that he deserved, because he definitely deserved it. You know, and then for Cammy, I love Cammy. He's one of my best friends. And the relationship that we have, my family and I have with Nancy and his girls and my boys, and it's like we're brothers and sisters, and we do a lot of things together. And it was really nice to be able to tell them that I love them, and because we do.
On the end there, Brian.
Greg, the logo on the cap, I know people have been asking you that for months. What made you decide on the logo that's going to be on the cap, the 2000 star?
Yeah, I didn't decide. I mean, I kind of just, you know, the Hall of Fame decided on that one, but it was just kind of like, you know, that was the one that, you know, kind of I thought was the coolest, and it looked good, and I think it's the one that we got for the World Series in too, so it's kind of a little fitting for that.
On the end there, Sam and the Brown.
John, two questions. First, how does it feel to sort of finally be reunited with Greg and Tom in this Hall of Fame rotation? And then the second part of that is, was there any time last year when you were watching them go in when you thought, you know, if I hadn't tried to pitch one more year, there's a chance we might have all gone in together?
I'll answer second first. Not really. I know that's what everybody kind of assumed would happen or would want to happen. We never talked about it when we were playing. We never set a plan on when each guy was going to do what. You know, people forget that Glavine was trying to come back from his injury the same time I was. It just so happens he didn't pitch an inning in the big leagues. I did. And in a unique way, this is something I'll never forget. You know, Tommy and Greg, look, I'm one of those guys that wasn't stupid. I knew they were going to make it, right? And everybody tried to find a way for me to make it. So to seem, they were always bombarded with questions on what do you think it's going to take. And I was just that guy that loved to compete, wanted to win championships. And when you make it kind of on your own accord away from them, it's pretty unique to be full circle now. To see them get enshrined last year, I've never smiled and been happier in my life other than my own family and my own kids, because I know their story. each one of these guys here has their own story. We're going to get to know it, and I've got to know their story a little bit. And when you know what someone has to do to get through what they did to get there, you have such a great appreciation for it. Greg and Tom know my story. Tommy especially knows how much heartache it took. So this in a unique way is awesome for me. I think it's a perfect illustration of what our game can be, what it is. 3 different guys at 3 different heights, and Craig and a guy that was similar to me and would move around and play different positions. So I know they're happy. I know there's a sense of relief that it didn't extend, and I'm honored and blown away. I can't believe that, you know, I'm first ballot Hall of Famer. I just never dreamt of that when I was 7. I did dream about pitching in the big leagues, but never getting in the Hall of Fame.
Go, take one more question for Randy if you have it. Right there in the front, Sam.
Hey, Randy, 2 questions. One, I know your passion's photography. Color or black and white? What medium do you like to work better, is best in? And then what it took to change from the wildness, the 3 years of leading the league in walks. What was like a key moment maybe that changed your career around?
I think the subject or the subject matter will dictate whether the picture should be black or white or color. And the reason for leading the league in walks for 3 years or whatever it was, it just couldn't throw strikes. And the turnaround on that was really the mentoring I got from Nolan Ryan and Tom House when I was in Seattle. It's been well documented. When I was in Seattle and they Nolan was finishing up his career in Texas. Tom House is a USC alumni, was also the pitching coach for the Texas Rangers. Took me aside. I watched Nolan throw a bullpen session, and being both power pitchers, it really wasn't about that. It was more about the mechanics that I wasn't doing correctly that would allow me to do the things that I did need to do correctly. And it was a little flaw, a little tweak. They worked on it. I continued to work on it the rest of that season, and then we continued to do some videos together down the road. But it was really just a little tweak in my mechanics.
We're going to let Randy go, and we're going to take 2 more questions for Craig before letting him go. Reminder, please try to confine your questions to today's activities, because a lot of people have questions about that. Questions for Craig? In the back there, Sam. Back row.
Craig, you brought up Mike Shepard in your speech today. What is the importance of having him and the Shepard family with you to have this experience?
Well, you know, Mike is, he was part of the journey. And like I said in the beginning, I mean, you know, how do you get to the Hall of Fame? You got to have a little bit of talent, right? But you got to have a lot of people to help you along the way. And Shep was one of those people. I mean, I think that, you know, when I went into Seton Hall, like a typical 18-year-old, you think you know everything. And you still need some guidance, and you still need some discipline, and you need somebody to stay on you. And to be able to have an opportunity to play for him and the coaching staff that he had there was huge for me. So I think that to be able to have him and his family there is a proud moment for Seton Hall University baseball team, and also him and his family and his legacy, because I think that, like I said, he's had a huge impact on a lot of people's lives.
One more for Craig. Andy, down front there, Sam.
Gentlemen, congratulations. First of all, for both of you, was there anything in your speech that you unintentionally left out that you'd like to add? And also, John, one other thing. When was the last time you played an accordion?
7 years old was the last time. I've played it since then, just messing around, but 7 years old. I'll go first. I did. I'm looking back, and much like a start that you critique, and you got that one moment, and you live and learn, and for me, there's probably going to be more than just a few things, but Ted Turner was one of the greatest owners in the history of the game, and I had him in my speech, and I don't know where I missed it in reading it, but Ted Turner brought to Atlanta the thing we needed the most, and that was a championship. We would have liked to have gotten more, but his passion and his ability to do at all costs, try to get players to come to this city, and so many people who come to this city end up living here. So I feel bad that I left out Ted Turner, a guy that in 1991, when he would give a speech, it was unlike any speech you've ever heard. He was an amazing man. You had to experience it. So that would be one that I wish, I know I had it in my speech, I just don't know where I missed it in the deliverance.
No, I think I'm good. I think that since I went first, I had a chance to think about it and play it back in your mind and everything like that. And I think I was pretty good with it. That was the biggest fear, that the Hall of Fame staff had mentioned to you, is that just make sure you just try to touch on everybody that had the impact on your life and try not to miss anybody. Because once you sit down, it's over with, and it's like you can't, oh, wait a minute, let me go back. And I think I'm good. And if I did miss anybody, I'm sorry.
I got a question for Craig Biggio. Did I ever hit you of all those times? I didn't hit you, did I?
I don't know. I probably would have liked you to, because
No,
it would have been an easier way to get on.
I just wanted to make sure.
I mean, a lot of guys I would like to hit me because that was just a free pass.
I was going to apologize if I did. But
No,
I
I'm
don't think I
okay, because it was, yeah. If you would have hit me, it would have been one less strikeout you would have had.
Last question for Craig. Mark down there.
Craig, since you did go first, did it give you a chance to really soak it all in and enjoy the moment, a moment that you'll obviously never forget because you went first and you sat through all this stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, I wanted to go and I wanted to get it over with, right? But you wanted to also make sure you did it right and it came out clean. But then after I sat down, and then John is next, and he's next to you, and you're watching his video, and you're like, oh, okay, bro, good luck, go get him. But you're just like, whew, because, like we said before, I think if you ask any Hall of Famer, we're more comfortable standing on a pitcher's mound or standing in a batter's box than you are with a mic in front of you, faced with 50,000 people there. And I was relieved, and I think I enjoyed it a lot more not having to wait the extra 30, 45 minutes or whatever it would be until you went. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And I think the people up here, it's just an incredible venue that the way they do it. Everybody's good people here.
We're going to let Craig go, and we'll take 2 more questions for John if we have them. Right there, Amy, in the white.
John, Ben Ingram of the Atlanta Braves Radio Network clocked your speech at 29 minutes, 29 seconds. Was that planned, or was that just a fortunate coincidence?
Of course it was planned. No, I have no idea. I got so sick and tired of hearing my voice on my phone recorder, timing it. I got to 18 minutes reading my speech. So that was my goal. And unfortunately, I obviously now did not reach that goal. But that's pretty cool. 29 minutes, 29 seconds, I guess. I just don't think the introduction and the thank you should count, personally. But till you get to your actual speech.
Sam in the back there, Jerry.
Yeah, John, sometimes we hear funny stories about advice you get from the other Hall of Famers for your speech. Did anybody say anything that sort of resonated with you?
They did, and the one fear I always had is just knowing last year, seeing Tommy and Greg and Bobby and 6 of them go in, was that, try to get it as concise as possible. And I really tried. I did. And I wanted to honor that. I really do, because I know what this group, but in all sincerity, they told you to relax, take a deep breath, take it in, slow it down as possible. If I would have read the speech, I would have gotten it under 20 minutes, but I would have lost a lot of things that I think were important to me. I would have liked to have spent more time on the parents of baseball players or the youth baseball. I would have liked to have corrected a couple things, philosophies that are out there that just are affecting our game in a negative way via injuries and pitching. But I also know that there were guys behind me that were going to speak, and I wanted to honor that time and honor my family. So it wasn't, in my past, I've never spoken. From the 500 times I've spoken, I've never used a speech. I've only passionately spoke about what I know. And I know that would have taken me much past, if it was 29 minutes. So they were all great, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of fun and kidding tonight, and I'll take it all in stride, because that's who I am. And if nothing else, parents that were sitting there listening to the choices they have in life, hopefully they'll reinvest and re-ask questions to see what's best for their children and let them pursue their passions.
being good timing, we're going to let John go, and we expect to have Pedro Martinez on the stage shortly.
Do I need to translate when he comes?